Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Muma Center here on the campus of the University of South Florida. Those of you that are in attendance here, those of you that might be watching at home online, and we appreciate you spending your Friday morning with us on what is a very special day. My name is Jim Lighthall. I'm the radio voice for the men's basketball team. Been doing that for a few years, so honored to be here to welcome our new head coach. Special day as we welcome the 12th head coach of USF men's basketball, Bryan Hodgson. There is a lot to look forward to in Coach Hodgson, an impressive resume at just 37 years old. Let's run down some of those things. Back-to-back 20-win seasons at Arkansas State. His first season, a 7-win improvement from the previous year. His second season, he set the school record for wins with 25, including Arkansas State's first postseason win in 34 years. You like offense? You're going to like this team. Top 50 in offense this past scoring season, almost 80 points per game. Maybe defense is your thing. Well, his team was top 30 in both field goal percentage defense and three-point percentage defense last year. He was once ranked the number 2 recruiter in the country by 247 Sports. He's coached in the SEC at Alabama. He's been a part of 6 NCAA tournament runs. And he's coached 4 first-round NBA draft picks. Maybe the most impressive of all, though, when Arkansas State's team bus broke down 2 hours away from their destination earlier this season, I'll give you one guess who grabbed a wrench, got under the hood, diagnosed a shredded belt, and then fixed the bus. That guy right there. We're all so excited for all of you to get to know him a little bit better. But first, I'd like to turn things over to Will Weatherford, the chair of the USF Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning, everybody. It's an exciting day for USF athletics, for our community. We're so pleased to welcome Coach Bryan Hodgson, the new head coach of the men's basketball program. We're honored to welcome him and Jordan, their son Jet, to the Bold Nation. Coach Hodgson's a proven winner. He knows how to lead and inspire young men with character and accountability. I could tell when I talked to him the first time that he cares about the young men that he coaches, which means that the young men he coaches know that he cares too. And that's a great sign of leadership, Coach. Passion and infectious energy are attributes you can't discount when it comes to on-court success. In the ever-changing landscape of college athletics, that need for passion and energy has never been more important. Coach Amir taught us that, and Coach Hodgson has it in spades. I've got good news for you, Coach. You're going to have a good story to tell here at USF. It's a story about a university on the rise. And much like your story, it has humble beginnings. But USF has hit a new stride of incredible momentum. In essentially every metric, academics, research, athletics, philanthropic support, thank you to our donors who are here, by the way, we continue to pursue greatness and achieve greater and greater heights. We take great pride in being a member of the prestigious Association of American Universities, a recognition that the University of South Florida is one of the premier research institutions in the country. But I've got more good news for you, Coach. While some universities are scaling back their investment in athletics, we're just getting started here at USF. With the leadership of people like Chair Trustee Griffin, Michael Kelly, President Law, and many others, we have committed more resources to athletics at this university in the last 4 years than we had in the previous 40 combined. We are all in. And we're all in because we know that the college sports landscape is changing, and the University of South Florida is here for it. We know that athletics is our front door, and we aim to compete, to win, and to do it with grit and integrity. So, Coach, we welcome you and your family to our family here at the University of South Florida, and we're looking forward to your journey along the way here in Tampa Bay. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the president of this great university, someone who's been leading our journey for the last 4 years, but she's been a part of the USF journey for 40 years. Our incredible president, Rhea Law.
Thanks, Will, and welcome to all of you. This is such a great day where we get to celebrate a new chapter for the University of South Florida and for the entire Tampa Bay region. But before I go any further, I want to just say to all of you that are here, all of our fans, our supporters, our donors, we feel your energy, we feel your excitement, and we're part of that. And today we're all going to celebrate together because we know that we're going to move to the next level. I am thrilled, as we have already introduced our new leader, to welcome Bryan and Jordan and Jet to our USF family. You know, we've already talked about the coach's background, especially the program that he built in Arkansas State. But that success led to more fan support and greater visibility for the program and the university. We know what that's like. A strong athletics program provides our students and our alumni with opportunities to come together and to share their passion for this great university. It brings the community in to experience all of the wonderful things that the university has to offer. You know, last year, we were fortunate to experience a championship season in men's basketball here at USF, and we all saw the incredible enthusiasm that it generates for the university. We want to get back there, and we want to have that sustained level of excellence. Bryan's record of success, together with his understanding of the importance of strengthening the ties with our community, gives us every confidence that we have found the right person to lead our men's basketball program. I'm also impressed by the meaningful contributions that Bryan makes away from the basketball court. Contributions that say a great deal about a person's character and our shared commitment to making a positive difference in the community. He mentors children through Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and he also is the founder and president of Coaching Love, Inc. That is, through basketball and other sports, Bryan is helping to raise awareness for at-risk youth, particularly those who are in foster care or waiting to be adopted. So I'd like to say that we know this is a wonderful fit for us, and we're so excited about this day. I'd also like to thank our Vice President for Athletics, Michael Kelly. He led a thorough search, and he brought us our new coach, and we cannot wait for Bryan to lead our Bulls to success. So with that, join me in welcoming Michael to the podium. Thank you, and as always, go Bulls.
All right. Good morning, and to Chairman Weatherford and President Law, thank you for being here, and thank you for your leadership of this great university and for everything you are pouring into athletics. Today is a great day for Tampa Bay's Home for Hoops. I mean, this is a day to celebrate and continue our momentum as an athletic department to move forward. You know, when you go through a search, there's so many things that go through your mind, so many different thoughts, so many different opinions, so many different lists, so many different amazing coaches across the country that can all do a wonderful job. Lots of X and O's experts, a lot of folks that would fit very, very well. But when you really go through it and have a chance to meet, you get a chance to learn so many things. And you need to try to learn about things that are happening not only in terms of what's happened in the past, but what's happening in the current. And what I'm really proud about at USF Athletics is that we're finding ways to be very nimble, to be very aggressive, to be very, very bold, because we know we have a vision and a goal to be a model athletic department for modern times. And so when you put all that together and you try to find the right fit at the right time, let me assure you that we've done that in finding Bryan Hodgson to come to our team. Not only does he have an elite recruiting background and record, he's been a part, as the accolades that Jim shared earlier, multiple NCAA tournament teams that he's been a part of that culture and that team, the X's and O's and the style of play that obviously along the lines of what people want to play, what they want to watch, what they want to fill the Angling Center with is second to none. But what I was most impressed about is as he learned about us and we learned about him, was the focus and the eagerness about buying into the vision, not just the vision of athletics only, but for the whole university and the momentum of being AAU and all the things that have happened in terms of the new college of cybersecurity and being bold and looking to the future, finding ways to be Tampa Bay's university in such an elite market, an elite destination. And when he looks at that and kind of buys in, not just to be the CEO of the men's basketball program, but to be a great partner to all of us here in this room and in this university to make USF continue on this incredible journey and this incredible trajectory that we're on right now. And with that, that's just couldn't ask for a better partner. But when you look at the athletic side, I mean, what else can you ask for? The number 2 recruiter in the country at one point in time, probably higher now because you've already seen some of the recruit and commitments that have already made support to the University of South Florida that we'll talk about more in very times here to come very shortly. But it's just more about, look at the programs he's been a part of. Buffalo, turn that place around with Coach Oates. Alabama, obviously they're going on one game away from their second straight Final Four. And to turn around what he did at Arkansas State is just incredible. And it's not lost on me that he was able to win on the road against both teams that happened to play in the American Championship game last year. So we've got the right guy, the right fit at the right time, and an incredible family to join us as part of Team USF. So please join me in welcoming our brand new leader for USF men's basketball, Coach Bryan Hodgson.
First and foremost, I probably should clear the air here. I didn't completely fix that bus, okay? There was a little bit of a publicity stunt there. No, I helped. So don't call me with any car questions. I'm not your guy. But first off, I want to thank everyone in attendance today. I really appreciate the support. I'm excited to be here and to be named your next head men's basketball coach. I'd like to start by thanking USF Board of Trustees Chair Will Weatherford, President Law, Vice President for Athletics Michael Kelly, Senior Associate AD Lee Butler, and CEO of the foundation Jay Stroman, as well as the entire Tampa Bay and USF community that has welcomed myself and my family with open arms from the day and time that we stepped off of that plane. Most importantly, speaking of family, I want to thank my rock, my fiance, Jordan, our 1-year-old son, Jet. If you have any questions at all about my ability to recruit, look no further than my beautiful fiance, the best recruiting job of my life. Relationships are everything to me. In an era where college athletics has become so transactional, I still strive to be as genuine as possible and to make decisions based on the people. Everything in life always comes back to the people that you surround yourself with. I had what many would consider a non-traditional childhood. I am a product of the foster care system. I was placed into foster care at the age of 1. I was later adopted. I grew up in a home that took in over 100 foster children from the time I was 3 to the time I was 14 years old. Some staying for only a night, some staying for as long as a year. My parents, Rebecca and Larry Hodgson, who I know are watching, have the biggest hearts in the world, and I'm forever grateful to them for showing me the true meaning of unconditional love. Growing up in that environment came with a lot of challenges. At a very young age, I fell in love with the game of basketball. I spent countless hours in the driveway pretending I was different college or NBA players. It was my outlet and passion. When you share a room with 4 or 5 other guys, you got to get out into the driveway a little bit and get away. I played basketball, fortunately, all the way through high school, all the way through my sophomore year at college, which at that point, I made the decision that I wanted to coach. It was a lofty dream for me at the time. I was not a big-time player. My dad did not coach. I was not a household name, but I was going to chase that dream. As a matter of fact, I called my father in that moment, who was an engineer, and I said, Dad, I'm going to change my major. I want to coach basketball. I want to coach college basketball. And there's a long pause on the phone. And he said, well, I love that. I know you love basketball, but what are you going to do for a living? How are you going to pay the bills? I assured him that eventually I would make that work. I was fortunate enough to take my first coaching job at the age of 21 at Fredonia State University, and then on to the junior college level, where I was a volunteer assistant coach at both Jamestown and Midland junior colleges, before ultimately ending up at the University of Buffalo under my mentor, Nate Oates. We had an amazing run at Buffalo that included 3 NCAA tournament appearances, a top 25 national ranking for every week of that college basketball season for a program that had never been ranked in the top 25 before. We had NCAA tournament upsets over programs like Arizona, Arizona State, and broke essentially every program record in the 4 years that we were there. From there, I followed Coach Oates to the University of Alabama, where we would go on to win 4 SEC championships in 4 years, compete in 2 Sweet 16s, and eventually help 6 young men achieve their goal of being drafted to the NBA. I was afforded my first opportunity to be a head coach 2 years ago at Arkansas State University, thanks to the leadership there of Chancellor Todd Shields and Jeff Purinton, and had a great first 2 years as a head coach. We won a conference championship, achieved 25 wins for the first time in school history. We made back-to-back conference tournament championships, and maybe more importantly to this crowd, as Michael referred to, we beat Memphis at Memphis convincingly. We agreed to a home-and-home with UAB. I think they thought that they were scheduling 2 wins against a lesser opponent in Arkansas State. We beat them at our place last year by 20. We went to their place this year, and we beat them in their building. And it was one of my most memorable coaching experiences of my career. We came out a little flat. We got down 27 points in the second half, completed the 6th largest comeback in NCAA basketball history, and beat them in overtime in Birmingham. After a successful 2-year stint at Arkansas State, I found myself in a position to move on. The last week for me has been absolutely a dream come true. I went through an exhausting week that consisted of several interviews while also preparing my team to play in the National Invitational Tournament for the first time in 34 years. I interviewed with multiple universities. I was flooded with emotions and was faced with many decisions that had to be made in the best interest of my family. I was offered several jobs. I won't mention where, but I can tell you this, none of them compared in any way, shape, or form to the University of South Florida. I knew from my first conversation with Michael Kelly and Lee Butler that this place was special. As the conversation progressed and I was introduced to Jay Stroman, Will Weatherford, and Michael Griffin, it was apparent that the alignment and enthusiasm for this university from their leadership was unmatched. They wanted to win, they loved this university, they loved this community, and more importantly, they're great people. I was given strict ultimatums and deadlines by other universities. You may have seen I was announced as the head coach at a university across the country that I did not ever accept that position. They thought they were going to accept it for me. But again, there was something special about the University of South Florida that I just couldn't take my mind off. We lost in the NIT, very emotional time for me. We board a flight back home to Jonesboro, Arkansas, after the conclusion of our season, and my fiance Jordan, as we sat on the plane, she just looked at me, and I had a blank stare, and I was silent for a good 30 minutes. She could tell I was emotional and in many ways very nervous about our future. She looked at me and said, "I know what's on your mind. You want the job at USF, don't you?" I smiled at her and emphatically I said, "Yes, I do." I laid in bed that night after we landed. I prayed that I would get that phone call that next morning, and sure enough, I did at 6:13 a.m., 3 times in 18 seconds. We were in the middle of trying to put our son back to sleep. My son, Jed, operates on his own schedule. And so I turn over after putting Jet back down, and I look, and I've got 3 missed calls from Michael Kelly. I was distraught, thinking maybe I missed this opportunity. I sprinted into the living room, and after several conversations that morning, I ended up being offered the job to be your next head men's basketball coach, and it was one of the best days of my life. I was willing to wait for the right time and place, and I found that here at the University of South Florida. Myself, my family, and my staff are ready to start this new chapter in our lives here in Tampa, and we will bring that brand of blue-collar, up-tempo basketball with us here to South Florida. This program will represent this university, this community, and all of our supporters with class, pride, and integrity, and I'm going to put together a team and a staff that everybody will be able to be proud of. As far as style of play, it was mentioned briefly. We're going to play a lot like we did both at Alabama and Arkansas State. We're going to play fast, analytically efficient basketball, a lot like the NBA. While playing fast, we're also going to be disciplined. Every coach in America gets up to this podium at their press conference and they tell all their supporters that they're going to play fast. Because after all, who wants to hear that we're going to play really slow, boring basketball? I can tell you this, while everyone may say that to fire up their fan bases, I have never been a part of a coaching staff at the Division I level that has not finished in the top 50 in the country in offensive tempo. We will be aggressive, efficient, and structured while allowing good players to make plays without overthinking their every move. Defensively, we will be physical, disruptive, detailed, and most importantly, play with elite energy and enthusiasm. We'll be blue collar on both ends of the floor, and by that, I mean we will do all the little things that it takes to win basketball games. As far as my staff, I look forward to figuring that out in the coming days so that we can get to work. I firmly believe that culture is truly the accumulation of good people. And I promise you I'm going to hire and recruit good people. Core values. Being a basketball coach is more than calling plays and making substitutions. It's about being a mentor, a leader, and a role model to these young men. I'm fortunate enough to be taking over a program with a strong foundation, tradition, and history of winning. Our core values may sound familiar to you. I've chosen to maintain the core values that were set forth for this program by Coach Amir Abdur-Rahim in his honor. Trust, responsibility, unity, toughness, and humility. Amir embodied every single one of these traits, and we will honor him every single day when we step foot in this building by conducting ourselves in the same manner. As a coach, you have the opportunity to make a lasting impact on players' lives. Through unconditional loyalty and love, you have the ability to help them develop skills and traits that will serve them long after that ball stops bouncing. And to me, South Florida is the best place in the country to do that. Myself, my staff, our student athletes are going to spend a lot of time in this community, getting to know our supporters, helping others, and strengthening existing relationships. Community engagement is a big deal to me, and you can expect us to see us supporting the other programs on this campus, as well as interacting and engaging with the student body, and especially the SoFlo Rodeo. I will expect our student athletes to compete in the classroom as well as on the court, and we will uphold the proud standards of this university, both athletically and academically. We will strive to compete in this program while also playing at a high level. To our fan base, I'm asking you to show your support to these young men by being loud and proud as you have for the last several years. Each time we compete, both at home and away, we anticipate the love and support that this fan base has provided unconditionally. We will put a product out there that will make you excited to fill up the Yingling Center, one of the best arenas in college athletics. Thank you so much for being here. I know change is difficult, and I'm looking forward to developing a relationship and earning your trust. I can't wait to meet you and get started. And with that being said, can't wait to get to work. Go Bulls.
Thank you, Coach Hodgson. We're all looking forward, obviously, to your first season at the Yingling Center coming up in the fall. For those of you keeping track, we're talking about 224 days that you have. So in all due respect to Coach Golish, we just have to put up with 32 more weekends before we can get to college basketball again. For the media that's in attendance, we will conduct interviews over here to my right when everything is done. Thank you all again for being here. Thank you for saying hello to our new head coach on this special occasion. Please drive safely, enjoy your weekend, and best of all, go Bulls.